argument for social justice is a long one. So long, in fact, that if you really pay attention to it, you'll find it doesn't make any sense at all. With so many factions and sects and labelling and mislabeling, the whole thing becomes a labyrinth of contradictions and pronouns, with definitions constantly shifting and a distinct lack of David Bowie in spandex. Luckily for us, we have MarinaShutUp acting as our moral compass, guiding our way through the maze of fuckery and out into the warming rays of a better world. So, grab your dictionaries, we're talking words.
So, as a bisexual...
When a sentence starts with speaking as a, you know it's gonna be some bullshit, don't you? I guess it's just another way of saying talking out of my ass.
I get a lot of comments and questions on my Tumblr or my YouTube or all of the various social meds.
Social meds? Way to save a valuable split second with your speech there, Marina. What are you doing with all that spare time?
Asking me why I personally choose to identify as bisexual.
Now, I'm not a bisexual, and that of course means by social justice standards, I'm not allowed to comment on the subject. But logic is telling me it's because you like both the D and the V, Marina. I don't think you identify as a sexuality, rather certain types of genitals make you wet.
Obviously, I can't speak for every bisexual person, but as an individual, singular bisexual out of many bisexuals across the globe.
Just answer the fucking question, Marina. This is some Milo Stewart level of awkwardness right now. And you've said bisexual 5 times now. We're only 36 seconds into the original video. That's one bisexual every 7.2 seconds. If your video were 10 minutes long, you would have said it 83 times. I think. I am shit at maths.
I'm gonna answer that question to the best of my ability. I feel like there are several really important points that are often misunderstood about bisexuality.
How? It's all in the name, isn't it? You like both men and women. How complicated can it get? That's about as unfussy as you can be when finding a partner. A lot of us get really hung up on them having the right sexy bits, but you don't even give a shit about that.
Number one being that bisexual means two.
No, bi means two. Bisexual means greedy.
So you're only attracted to two genders. But there are two alternative definitions for bisexuality that have come into popularity more recently that I actually prefer.
That's cool. You prefer what you want and that's up to you. But alternate definitions aren't actual definitions, are they? If you have to twist the meaning of a word to get your point across, you're either being manipulative or you're fucking shit with words.
So the first one is that bisexuality means attraction to two or more genders.
Well, that wouldn't be bisexuality then, would it? Not only are you fucking up that word, but you're messing with the word bi too. And what other genders are we talking about here? We got dicks, vajayjays, and what? Tusks?
And the second one is that bisexual means attraction to same and different genders.
No, same gender and the other one gender, because there are only two, as shown by genitals, toilets, and Riley Dennis's line of t-shirts that say there are more than two genders, available in male and female. Can't get more gospel than that without it coming from the mouth of God, which, if you believe in that shit, fucking did.
There's probably nuanced differences between those two definitions, but I think they're pretty similar, and that's usually how I describe my own sexual orientation.
So now we have 3 definitions for the same word. Not different uses of the same word, as would normally be the case. No, the same use for the same word. You're meant to be progressives. Where's the progression? You're fucking up well-established things left, right, and centre. Once the last of you's been fired into the sun, we're gonna have to spend years cleaning up the mess you made just to get back to where we were.
I don't know what I was pointing to. Is it my boobs, I guess?
You could have been, Marina, but you only used 2 hands, and I see 3 tits on the screen right now.
So for me, my bisexuality means that I'm attracted to people of the same gender. I'm a woman, so women.
Well, yeah, assuming you haven't changed the definition to mean someone who comes from Canada or something.
And people of other genders, like men, or non-binary people, or gender-fluid people, etc., etc.
You were right with men. You should have just said that and stopped talking. I like how your progressive ass couldn't come up with more than non-binary and gender fluid though, which both just mean attention-seeking adolescent. I mean, there are so many genders, you had to change the meaning of the word bisexuality, so why can't you name any?
If you're cute and funny and we get along, then there's a possibility that I'm attracted to you.
Cute and funny. Yeah, I'm smashing both those things. But if we got along, fuck, I mean, I'm just saying, you'd find it hard to be attracted to someone that's swinging from a fucking noose.
basically. The number 2 misconception that I get about that is that if you use that definition of bisexual, then you're actually using it incorrectly, and you should really label yourself as pansexual.
Ooh, you're losing me, Marina. Besides pansexual sounding like something Tinkerbell might have been, I was under the impression if you identified as something, then you magically became that thing. Hence the more than 2 genders bollocks. So if someone says, actually, you're pansexual, why not react with that righteous indignation we're all so fond of?
And to that, I say, don't tell me what to do.
I think you mean don't tell me who to do.
I think it's really important to honor the terms that people feel like fits them best.
Oh, so like when Black Lives Matter say they aren't racist even though they are. Or when Antifa say they fight against fascism even though they are fascists. Both as untrue as Riley Dennis saying he's a lesbian, but it's important to honour it because the left is all about lying to people's faces apparently.
And if they say I'm bisexual or if they say I'm pansexual, then it's probably good to respect that.
Hold on, by your new definition, what is the difference between bisexual and pansexual? Nothing, right? So why do you have 2 words to describe the same thing? I thought you said social mead earlier on because you were economic with your language, but now I see that isn't the case and you are quite simply dangerously moronic.
Also because people use different definitions for pansexuality and bisexuality.
You know what using a different definition is commonly known as? Being wrong. It's not some newfangled meaning that only the cool kids know about, you're just wrong.
It can be hard to make hard and fast distinctions between the 2.
If only you had some clear-cut way of telling what someone meant purely from the noises that come out of their mouth, eh? Come on, you social justice dickheads, catch up with the rest of us, will you?
I know that some people identify with pansexuality more because for them, gender doesn't play into their experience of attraction.
I really don't give a fuck. If a guy finishes noshing off another guy and then gets up from his knees and tells me he's straight as he wipes globs of sticky man milk from his chin, I don't give a shit how he identifies. That nigga gay.
They like people regardless of gender. And then I know bisexual people who use the term bisexual to mean that they're attracted to different genders, but gender does affect their attraction.
So you're saying pansexuals will fuck anything, regardless of identity, whereas bisexuals like to make sure their potential partner isn't one of those there are more than 2 genders head cases before getting squishy with them? Well, okay. I'm alright with that. I mean, it's still wrong. You were right the first time, but I'm okay with it.
So in that way, I guess gender probably does affect my attraction.
Then you're not bisexual. Fuck's sake, Marina. Just stick to the actual meaning. Stop trying to modify everything. It works just fine the way it is, and you're fucking everything up.
I can be attracted to people regardless of gender, but also the way that I feel attraction to them might have to do with how much they express femininity or masculinity or neither.
What you did just then, Marina, was say a whole lot of words without actually saying anything at all. This method of blindsiding people with words might work with your divvy SJW mates, but this here is a very different kind of audience.
Yeah. But again, no hard and fast rules. I'm not the authority on bisexuality, and I'm definitely not the authority on pansexuality.
Who is then? Who decides these new definitions? Who signs off on them? And where do I send my complaints?
Number 3 misconception is that the term bisexual is transphobic.
Oh, of course it is. Everything's transphobic. The fucking sun is transphobic. Everything.
Because you're excluding non-binary or gender non-conforming trans people from your dating pool.
Non-binary and gender non-conforming people aren't trans, as they haven't undergone any kind of transition. There's a bit of a theme with that word, trans. Transform, transfer, translate. Always meaning from one to the other, and never does it mean based on your fucking feelings.
And I think based on what we just discussed, that's not necessarily true. Because I'm bisexual and I'm attracted to people who don't identify as binary men or women.
You can't base it on your attraction because you said at the beginning of this video you can't speak on behalf of all bisexuals. Did you forget about that? No one can, which is why no one has the right to change the meaning of the word. Though I think you did say you got told this shit over something like Tumblr, so well, what did I expect?
So, I don't really know what they're talking about.
Well, now you know how everyone else feels, Marina.
I'm sure that transphobic bisexual people exist. Actually, definitely transphobic bisexual people exist.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not a fucking crime. You can feel the way you want about things. It's acting on them that's different. Like, I don't care if you don't like Game of Thrones. We can sit there and you can tell me how much you don't like Game of Thrones. I don't give a shit. But when you start chatting over an episode of it, that's different.
But I think it also comes from a misunderstanding of how people define bisexuality, and that there are alternative definitions for the word.
No, there aren't. Even if there actually were more than two genders, none of your alternative definitions mean bisexuality because it involves more than two fucking genders. Stop fucking with words.
It doesn't just mean that you're only attracted to cis men and cis women. Being bisexual just means that you are attracted to at least two genders, but it could be more than two.
Oh my, how the fuck do you not even hear what you're saying, you fucking crayon-eating, paint-huffing, window-licking bint? Moses on a moped. If you're gonna be that dumb, you need to get a lot prettier.
And those two genders don't even necessarily need to be like men and women. I mean, theoretically, you could be a woman attracted to women and like agender people.
Have you ever noticed that we have nouns, such as man and woman, but none of the magical genders that seem to have only been around for the past couple of years have such nouns? It's just whatever mental illness they have followed by the word people. Funny that, isn't it? Almost like they aren't real.
You know, it doesn't even necessarily mean that you're only attracted to boys and girls. The last point I want to touch on is why I personally started identifying with the term bisexual.
If it is anything other than I realised I like girls as well as boys, I'm gonna punch you in the fucking womb. Obviously I don't mean that because that would be assault and probably a hate crime since she is blatantly retarded.
And that was just simply because in high school, bisexuality was the first term that I heard. I don't think I knew what pansexuality was until college.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a pattern where that's concerned, doesn't there? What the fuck are American colleges doing to these people? They don't go in like that. Why the fuck are they coming out as such dickheads?
But by then, I'd already kind of been questioning if I was bisexual, and I had grown a little bit attached to the term, I guess.
Because that was the first word you heard, though. It's lucky no one said anything about pigeons, isn't it? Else you'd think you could fly. Though you are doing a pretty good job of shitting over everything.
Women that I had crushes on in high school identified as bisexual, so I felt like some solidarity in that. I don't know, when I was questioning my sexuality in high school, bisexual was the only term that I had.
Because this gender bullshit didn't exist then, fucko. This shit's brand new. You never noticed how no figures in history has to be called Zer? Well, maybe Xerxes, but only to his mates.
I already felt pretty attached to it, and women that I had, I guess girls at the time because I was in high school, girls that I had crushes on, pretty much all identified as bisexual.
Well, that's lucky. For you, obviously not for them. Now they have an oddly Asian-looking fuckwit following them around asking if they want to go out for some vegan ice cream. I don't even know if she's vegan. I'm just saying, look at those eyes. Dead.
To be fair, there weren't a lot of like LGBT people at my school. But I guess I just felt a sense of solidarity with that, knowing that there were cool girls who were bisexual at my school, and I liked their faces.
That got weird. Did you like their faces so much you still have them, Marina? Even scarier is the thought of a group of bisexuals hanging around together. They must look at the rest of the world like a fucking buffet. Everyone's just finger food. And an orgy could kick off at any moment. No warning.
I don't know. Something about the word bisexual, it just like feels more comfortable for me. Like, I guess you could technically call me pansexual, but I don't really like use that term for myself, and I don't really mesh with it.
Well, one is the attraction to all million genders, and the other one is real, so take what you want from that.
I don't think it'd be incorrect to call me pansexual, but I prefer bisexual. And that's like a thing I never understood until I came out. I was like, what does it mean to feel like an attachment to a certain word?
I've got a load of words I think would suit you down to the ground, missus. Look, you can call yourself what you want, but that doesn't change what you actually are, right? We do know this, don't we, Marina? It's like Kanye saying he's a musical genius. That's what the whole gender thing is.
Why does it matter? But I think words do matter, and I think it's really important to let people define themselves with the words of their choosing, because it can be a form of empowerment.
Someone who identifies as a demi-gender clownfish is not the sort of person I want to empower. If anything, I think they could do with being told no a little more often.
And if it makes them feel good, then it's good to respect that.
Meh, good is subjective. I think it would be good if MarinaShutUp actually shut the hell up. And if your sexuality is part of your identity, and your identity is whatever you say it is, doesn't Doesn't that imply sexuality's a choice? I really thought we'd move past that, but I guess some people got left way behind. So thanks for that, Marina. Next time I need an explanation from you, I'll do the next best thing and headbutt a wall. Thanks for watching, guys. Please consider becoming a patron and giving me the monetary equivalent of a rough handy J. The link is in the description, and remember, in a world where you are what you identify as, so many people choose to be stupid.